Welcome back to another video. So this video here we're going to break down what time frame should you trade as a trader. Now it comes down to quite a few things which I will go over in this video. I'm going to make it as quick as possible just so you know what to consider. So should you be trading the 1 minute time frame like you see on your screen? Should you be trading the 5? Should you be trading the 15? Maybe the 30, 60, 4 hour, or finally something like the daily. So they're questions that you need to ask yourself, okay? What time frame are you going to be trading as a trader? And it pretty much boils down to three things. The first thing that it comes down to simply is your lifestyle, okay? So with your lifestyle, are you someone who works a 9 to 5? Does your job allow you to go on your phone, or do you work somewhere that doesn't allow you to go on the phone? What about obviously things like time on the screen? Outside of work, do you have somewhere at home to go on the computer? So many different things come into play with this, but the main thing is usually for most people is what do you do if you've got a job? Now, if you've got a job, there's two ways to look at it. If let's say you have a, I don't know, 30 to 1 hour dinner break, maybe in that 1 hour on your dinner break, you could trade where you would go somewhere lower time frame. So each of these candles in this sense represents 5 minutes, or you could be on the one. If you only have an hour a day to trade, there's two options. You could go to the 1 minute and hope you get a quick, fast play. But with that being said, I would say that the lower time frames are riskier to trade, even though they can move the quickest in terms of risk to reward. If you really have a 9 to 5 job, realistically, I would probably advise trading something like the 4 hour. The 4 hour will allow you to identify strong levels within the market that don't need monitoring and that you can set pending orders to obviously take positions within the market. And that is the way that I would do it. So the way I personally trade, even though I do have more time on my hands now, obviously due to trading, I still trade the higher time frames. It's what works for me, and for that reason, I will stay at it. I would only recommend trading the lower time frames if you have a lot of time to be sat at the screen where you can wait for the best players, and that way you can obviously take positions. So lifestyle comes into it. The second option that I want to present in terms of things you need to take into consideration is your personality. When it comes to your personality, are you somebody who can't wait patiently for a trade? Do you find yourself trying to wait for a trade and struggling simply due to the fact that you're not patient? Are you a patient person? Are you impulsive? Are you emotional? All these things you need to ask yourself when it comes to taking a approach on a lower time frame. If you're very emotional, you're probably going to overtrade and take a lot more positions. If you are someone who is patient, it's probably worth going to the higher time frames because you're obviously going to wait for the best players, and that's how I personally do it, okay? I am a very patient person, so I can wait a week for a trade knowing that the chances are in my favour when that winning trade finally comes, okay? So when it comes down to you as a trader, you need to ask yourself, am I patient? Am I impulsive? If you're an impulsive person, trading the 1 minute time frame will be the death of you because you're going to be entering loads of trades that don't fit your rules simply based on emotion. And I know quite a few people who obviously are like that. So if you are patient, I would advise sticking to the higher time frames. If you're impulsive, again, probably higher time frames. Whereas if you're someone who can trust yourself and you know you're not going to be making silly mistakes by trading with emotion, then by all means, the lower time frames may be good for you because there is going to be a lot of signals in your directional bias on the lower time frames that actually end up not working. For example, resistance area, wick, rejection, engulfing candle, grey entered, stop below there, something like that, you'd have been stopped out. Are you then entering another position? Are you then changing your bias and saying, well, it's a break retest with a wick, going something like that, and then obviously it coming back again. So there's a lot which comes into it when it comes to obviously taking positions. And then the final point that I wanted to go over, which is somewhere hidden over here, is the session. Okay, so your last point is going to be the session you trade. Let's say, for example, you trade the Tokyo overnight session, maybe volume is quite low. It might be beneficial for you to trade the lower time frames. If you trade the London and New York session, depending on the pair that you trade, by all means, you might want to go to the higher time frames like what I do, because getting a trade and it winning is obviously more likely on the higher time frames due to the increased volume. So when it comes to the part of the world you're in, where you trade, how you trade, these are all things you need to take into consideration when it comes to picking your time frame. So I'm hopeful that that is something that can help you. If you are someone who is looking for a higher time frame strategy to maybe go alongside your 9 to 5 or something like that, I would strongly advise looking in the bio at what I've got to offer. Obviously, if you are looking for something lower time frame, I am not the person to obviously show you how to do that. So just bear that in mind before thinking about joining anything of mine. So yes, guys, thank you very much, and I will see you on Tuesday's video.